What is going on, guys? It is Monday, which means it is time for another mock draft. Today's theme, we are going to take a playmaker at pick number 10 for the New York Jets. No offensive line. You guys know how I feel about that, but we're going to do this. We're going to go with the playmaker instead. Let's get rocking and rolling. We're using the PFN simulator today, changing it up. Let's get us started. Okay, here we go. Okay, we're not doing trades. We're just going to make it nice and easy. Okay, this is what I wanted to happen. So the New York Jets at pick 10, Brock Bowers is available in this simulation, which is what I wanted to do for the New York Jets at pick 10 in this mock draft. Now, I made it pretty clear my stance. My preference is to go offensive line at pick 10, whether that is Olu falling or Talisi Fuaga. That would be, again, my preference. Now, granted, it's going to depend on what happens in free agency, so we'll have a better idea in March. But even though that is my preference, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that Brock Bowers would be some terrible pick for the New York Jets, or that I wouldn't be excited about a Brock Bowers selection. And I get it. Some people are going to go, well, a tight end in the top 10. It's a little different. It's even a little different than Kyle Pitts a few years ago. He is a incredible receiving threat, an incredible blocker. He's really a dual threat tight end. He could line up out wide. He could line up in the slot as a big slot. It's just, think of it as adding another weapon. Don't think of it as adding a tight end, because adding a traditional tight end, it would be a completely different response from me, but this is not what that is. It is, again, think of it as adding a weapon for the worst offense in the NFL. Last year, the New York Jets were the worst offense in the league. I'm not going to get mad at them for adding a weapon, especially one of the caliber of Brock Bowers. So in this mock draft, that's what we're doing. We're taking Brock Bowers. So next pick isn't until round 3, pick 72. And we'll see in this scenario. Again, we're just going to get out of these trades. At this point, you got really one of two things. If you're going to go with Brock Bowers that high, you either got to go offensive line or wide receiver. In this circumstance, the wide receiver that I would go with is Roman Wilson. I'm not a Johnny Wilson fan. Personally, he's huge. He's like 6'7", doesn't separate well. You would think is a good jump ball guy. He is inconsistent as a jump baller. I think I am a Roman Wilson fan, or Ricky Pearsall. I'm good with either, but in this mock, we're going to go with Roman Wilson. And then eventually you got to go back to the offensive line again. We're not going to do trades. We're going to keep this just nice and simple. Okay. So I think you got to grab an offensive tackle in this spot. Let's grab one. And then the Jets pick again in 2 picks. You might be worthwhile to take a look at a guard as well. So we'll do that. We'll pick up the guard from TCU. Again, just adding offensive line depth. In this simulator, they don't have the comp picks in the 7th round yet. So this next pick in round 6 is going to end up being the final pick of the selection. We were very offense heavy in this one so far. We'll take a look at it. I mean, tight end, wide receiver, offensive tackle, offensive guard. While clearly the New York Jets, again, I want to reiterate, they need help on the offense significantly. They can't just completely ignore the defensive side of the ball. There's really 2 spots that I'm comfortable with the New York Jets going in the NFL draft. The first is interior defensive line. I think that's going to be a sneaky need for this team. You have guys like Al Woods stepping. I mean, I would be very surprised if Al Woods is back. Quentin Jefferson, I would like to bring back. He is a free agent. So obviously, again, you'll see if he does come back. And then the other is safety, because Jordan Whitehead's a free agent. Chuck Clark is a free agent. Ashton Davis is a free agent. I would like to bring back Ashton Davis and Chuck Clark, to be honest with you. But that doesn't stop you from drafting a player on the defensive side of the ball, especially safety. And at this point in the draft, look, like the first 2 picks, round 1 and round 3, I think pretty clear where the Jets have to go with that, something to help out the offense. But when you get into round 4 and beyond, that's when I could start to get into the idea of looking at the depth guys for the interior defensive line and safety. And in this mock, we're going to go Dwayne Carter out of Duke to round out our draft class here. So just going to let this run through, and then we'll talk about our draft quickly at the end here. A smaller draft class. Again, they don't have the seventh round comp picks in theirs yet. But I wanted to do PFN 1 to change it up, and 2 because Brock Bowers tends to fall to 10 in those mocks, where PFF, he is always going off the board to the Chargers at 5. Not a guarantee that Brock Bowers is there at pick number 10, just like it's not a guarantee that Olu Fashanu is there for the New York Jets at pick 10. There are no guarantees in mock drafting. That's the whole fun of it, or in the NFL draft in general. Like, we see guys all the time who get mocked really, really high, go later than anticipated. We see guys who are mocked much lower, end up going higher. The draft's a crapshoot, so there is a world where Brock Bowers is available at pick number 10, and I wanted to show what the rest of your draft could look like if you're the New York Jets at that point, when you are, again, landing a weapon. So your first 2 picks are landing weapons. Then you go to the offensive line, and Roman Wilson, like, I'm not drafting Roman Wilson to be wide receiver 2. You still have to go out and sign a wide receiver 2, trade, whatever, right? You have to acquire a wide receiver 2 that way. And Roman Wilson's really drafted to be like more, or whoever you take in the 3rd or 4th round is drafted to be like your 4th or 5th receiver. They just need depth at that position. So that was my mindset with this mock. Let me know your take on it down below. Are you a fan of drafting Brock Bowers for the New York Jets in the 1st round, or would you rather do something else? Let me know. All comments welcome. This is a debate. It's not anything personal. We're just showing different options for what the Jets could do. That's the whole point of Mock Draft Monday. It's not always what I would do or what you would do, but just showing different avenues the Jets could pursue in the NFL draft. That'll do it for me. I'm Matt O'Leary. Like the video before you go. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you next time.